after almost a year gap or a semester gap, we are back online. And in our virtual classes, we'll be interacting as well as, we'll try to solve whatever queries you have from your end. At the same time, we'll also cover in a very brief way major topics that are being prescribed in your syllabus. So in this virtual class, I welcome you once again. Before we basically go and discuss what is there in the syllabus, I would like to know from you about your brief introduction as well as your previous experience with these virtual classes. So I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, sir, able to hear.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So would you please give your brief introduction? It's completely voluntary. Just to start off first class and break the ice, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Sir, myself, I am Mr. Ragi Ramesh, studying in KDC, Hanmakonda. I'm regular teacher, sir.
Okay.
This is my second degree I want to have, and very interested in English.
Wonderful. So there is no basically limit to what you learn and at what age you can learn. So sky is the limit when it comes to education. So irrespective of age, time, place, right, and number of degrees, you can go on learning in life.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramesh. Anybody else? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start. Actually, I'll start this session with my own brief introduction. My full name is Sheikh Muhammad Fasiullah. So academically and as per certificate, it is SM Fasiullah. I have been teaching to the students of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University for last 3+ years. And basically, I teach master's students. I think, last academic year, I had the chance to teach BA students as well. I think, the paper that I taught was English in India. So this time, I'll be teaching you structure of modern English. I hope, there may be some students who attended my previous classes. So they may be familiar with, the way I teach and the kind of classes we have in these online virtual classes. Besides teaching in Ambedkar University, I also teach in Maulana Azad National Urdu University to master's students, comparative literature and post-colonial literature papers. And at the same time, I am a writer who write for both newspaper, magazines, as well as different institutions. So recently, a few of my chapters have been published by TOS, Telangana Open School Society, in their intermediate syllabus. Apart from that, I have contributed to multiple universities syllabi. So my passion is to write as well as teach. So that is why I am here today. So once again, I extend a warm welcome to you. Now, to start off with the main topic, and in the very first class, which is scheduled this semester for you all. So we'll try to look at the paper and the title of the paper and what does it mean and what we are going to learn in this particular paper. I hope you are connected with me because I cannot see you. I presume that you are available and I'm interacting with you. And if at all, wherever you think that connection is lost, you please either ping me or send some alert so that I can know that my connection is lost. I hope you understand that those technical glitches we find when we are online, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And just to ensure that I am always connected with you, I may seek this kind of response from you to ascertain that we are there, okay, and interacting without any issues. Yes, if we look at the title of the paper, Structure of Modern English, which is prescribed in this particular semester, that is third semester in your BA second year. If you look at that, what comes to your mind? What would be the topics that we may likely to read and learn in this particular paper?
Making sentences.
Wonderful, right? Something something related to the construction of sentences and other things. Yes. Okay. What else?
Idioms, phrases.
Okay. Yeah. So yes. So the Bhargavi has rightly made a guess that it would be about syntax. The syntax of English language. Wonderful. What else? Is it only syntax that we are going to talk about, or there could be something more than just syntax? Okay, let me also
paragraphs, noun, pronouns, sentences.
Yes. So grammar in general, right, Farzana? You mean to say we'll be hopefully we'll be talking about grammar in this particular paper, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? The structure of modern English, right? In that, a few people said that it could be what we say. It could be about syntax. It could be about grammar. Well and fine. What else we can do, or what else we may do in this particular paper? Well, what I'll do is, I'll try to brief you about that. And thanks for whatever feedback that you have given, whatever comments that you have made to the questions that I asked. So that would really help, in moving forward and understanding things in a smooth way. So let's actually move and look at the SLM, that is, self-learning material that may have reached you by now. That is the textbook that is prescribed for this particular paper. So if you look at the title of the paper, the cover page of the the book that you have got, it shows few things, right? Structure of Modern English is the broad title highlighted on the cover page of the book. And then you see that there is something called prose, poetry, fiction, criticism, drama, etc., right? Are you able to see that screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, it is about structure of modern English. When we are saying modern English, what does it mean? Does it mean there was other kinds of Englishes also? Right? Has the English been historically divided into different types, like modern English, right? Or Middle English, right? Old English. Is there such kind of classification? Have you heard about that?
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah. So basically, English. It is said that English started with in 5th century, and from there it moved on to 10th, 11th century onwards. It is called Middle English, right? Shakespearean time English is called Middle English, and then later a new variety of English emerged that is called modern English. So whatever we are using right now, right, in the textbooks, in our communication, in interacting with you, all that is what? Modern English. Right? So that is why our focus in this particular paper is to look at modern English. There could be, or there's a possibility that some paper or some expert talk about Old English and Middle English. But in this particular paper, in your BA, we will be looking at structure of modern English. Okay. I hope you are following me.
Yes.
Please feel free to let me know whether my pace, right, my speed is worth understanding, or should I reduce the speed so that it makes more sense to you. You have to let me know. Okay, this being the first class, so I want to know you to understand as much as possible in this virtual class. Okay, if I am too speed or too slow, you please let me know in the comment or through voice comment, so that I can fine tune my speed, right, my way of interacting with you to suit your requirement. Okay. Yeah. So now once we understood that there are three different varieties of English: Old English, Middle English, and Modern English. So in that three varieties, we are focusing on one particular variety, that is Modern English, which is now in use, right? In that variety, we are looking at the structure of it, which, right, obviously or apparently means we will be looking at how that modern English is formed, right? It's as somebody has rightly pointed out, its syntax, right? Maybe it's grammar, right? Or it's sound side also. So all those things that is what we will be trying to understand in this particular course, right? Now, if you look at the table of content or content page of this particular paper, you see that this paper is divided into 5 different blocks, isn't it? It's visible on your screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
The first block is about
Sounds.
The
organs of
speech.
Sounds.
right? Okay. So in the first block, there are 3 different units wherein we will be understanding the sound of the language. Here, which language? Obviously, English. And that too, modern English, right? The one which we use in our day-to-day life. So we will be looking at how English is formed, or what are the sounds that make up modern English. Okay. And in that, what basically we will be looking at: organs of speech, vowels, consonants. So vowel and consonant are something that you are already familiar with, right? So when it comes to vowels, we know that there are how many? How many vowels are there in English?
A-E-I-O-U.
5.
5, right?
5.
So you are completely mistaken. There are not 5, but 24 vowel.
A-E-I-O-U.
No, there are 24 vowels when we are understanding or looking at language from a sound perspective. We are looking at the sounds of the language. If we look at letters of the English, then yes, there are 5 vowels. But if we are taking sounds, then sorry, there are 20 vowels and 24 consonants. I'm sorry. So there are 20 vowel sounds and 24
Consonant sound.
consonant sounds, right? Okay. So that is the difference. So we typically know that there are 5 vowels in English, which means we are referring to 5 letters, right? Written letters that we are talking about when we say 5 vowels. But in fact, when we look at English language, right, in terms of sound, then there are 20 vowels and 24 consonants. So there are total 44 sounds that make up English language. The way we have 26 letters, right?
Yeah.
In writing
Yeah.
English. So these are the basic unit in English language. So there is no 27th letter. All the entire language is made up of these 26 letters. So similarly, when it comes to sounds, there are 44 sounds, 44 different or unique sounds that make up the entire English language, spoken language, right? Written language, 26 letters, and spoken language, 44 sounds. Out of that, 20 are vowel sounds and 24 are consonant sounds. So we'll discuss those things in detail when we actually take up topic wise. I'm just giving you an overview. Okay. In that, the first part is about organs of speech. So we know that human beings are intelligent beings, right? And we have the necessity to communicate in our day-to-day life, whether it's a need, whether it's a pain, or whether it's a emotion of happiness, whatever it is, we do share with others. It could be your sibling, it could be anybody, friend or anybody. So we have the need to communicate with fellow human beings. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So our existence itself is a social existence, right? That is why one of the philosophers said we are social animals, right? But by that he means we cannot live alone. We need people around us to make our life meaningful, and our life becomes meaningful when we communicate, right? When the other person communicates with us and when we communicate with the other person. So we have the need to communicate. And what comes as a means to communicate? How do we communicate? Basically using a medium that is called language, right? In order to communicate, we need language, right? It could be any language, any human language. It could be Hindi, Urdu, Telugu, English, whatever, right? Or a Greek or some other kind of language. Basically, we need language to communicate with each other, isn't it? Now, if you look at if you observe any person interacting, any person communicating, you realize that there are certain what we say parts within our mouth that are responsible for producing the sounds, right? Producing the language. What are those things that comes into picture when we interact? Which are the parts of the mouth that are responsible or that play a role in producing the sounds for language? One guess is tongue, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Tongue is one particular organ, one part of the body which plays some role in production of sound.
Teeth, tongue.
Yes. So another is teeth. Very good. What else? What else may play a role in producing the sound?
Yes.
Jaw, upper jaw, lower jaw.
Yes, jaws. Very good.
Vocal cords.
Very good. Sound box, vocal cords. Very good.
Nasal cavity.
Yes.
Lungs.
Yes. Lungs do play a role.
Trachea.
Yeah.
Larynx.
Pharynx. Yeah. There are some parts within this area. I hope you are able to see my face also. So there are different parts within the mouth, right? Including your nose. Do you think nose also plays a role in production of sound?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. So these are some just to brush up what we already know about these things. So there are multiple parts, or we also call as organs, which play a prominent role or an important role in production of sound, right? So in this particular unit or in this topic, that is organs of speech, we will look at different parts that play a role and how or in what way they contribute in production of sound. That is sound, which is responsible for human language, isn't it? So this is about block 1. So where we will be looking not just the sound, but how and from where that sound is produced. whether it's a vowel or a consonant, will scientifically try to understand how language is produced, how human language is produced. And in this particular block, or in this particular course, we will specifically refer to English, right? That is production of English sound, not general, okay? So if you come to the second block, which is words, right? If you look at second block, the second block is about words. The first was about sounds. Second one is about what? Words. So in words, we know that the whole vocabulary, English vocabulary, is divided into 8 different parts. What are those? What are the 8 different parts of speech in English?
Noun,
Conjunction, adjective,
Pronoun, adjective, conjunction, interjection,
verbs,
position.
Very good, wonderful. So we have entire English vocabulary, right, has been divided into 8 different parts of speech, right? Which means whatever sounds we are producing or whatever words we have, those are classified or categorized into 8 different categories, starting from noun to ending with interjection, right? Noun to interjection. There are 8 different parts of speech, right?
Yes.
Right. These are basics. We have been learning about from school onwards. But in this paper, why there is a repetition of those things? Are we going to learn the same thing that we have already learned in the school? This may be the question that may come to your mind, isn't it? This is a question that may come to your mind. If we have already read about grammar, right? If you have already read about parts of speech and all those things when we were school children, why this has been again prescribed in your BA syllabus? To that question, I would answer: in school, you just came to know that there were 8 parts of speech, right? But in this particular paper, you will come to know why those have been classified and what role those classifications categories play in producing the language. Right? What possibly are the other categories in which these 8 parts of speech could be separated or divided. All those things in detail we will be learning about. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So similarly, if you look at these 4 different units within this block, you have that words being divided into 2 different categories: content word, function words.
Functional word.
Right. Then word classes, which is nothing but those parts of speech. And then you have, we know that there is one particular word category which is called verb, right? So within verb, there are again 2 different categories: main verb, auxiliary. All these things will be going into detail, not just limiting to act, acted, acted, right? Right. Or noun and verb things. We'll go into detail about those things. Okay. And then if you look at block third, word formation. So if we pay a little attention in the previous block, that is block 2, which is about words, we know that there is a vocabulary which is English vocabulary, and that vocabulary is divided into or categorized into 8 different parts of speech. And within that, you have verbs, types of verb, content, all those things, right? Now, but in this particular block, which is word formation, we will be looking at how that vocabulary that we are talking about is formed, how new words are formed, how new words are formed and how one particular word which is in one category changes to other categories. Say, for example, one noun is changing to a verb, a verb is changing to noun. How that is happening, right? What makes that change? So all those things will be understanding in this block, which is about affixes, right? Suffix, prefix, all those things, right? And different types of word formation, made be compounding, borrowing. There are so different there are different types of word formation, right? Clipping and all those things. We'll be discussing those things in these block. And then we have grammatical categories also, that also we'll talk about in this third block. Okay. I hope I'm connected with you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And then from word, we'll go to phrases. Now, if I ask you from where the language starts, you can say that, sir, it starts with letters, because this is the basic unit, right? There is no further division possible after letters, isn't it? So that's why letters is the basic unit in written language. And since we are talking about English, so in English also, letters is the, what do you say, the starting point for the formation of a language. Then we go to words, right? From letters, we go to the higher category, that is words. From there, we move to phrase. And from phrase to clause. And from clause to sentences, right? And from sentence to what next?
Paragraph.
Yes, paragraph. Paragraph. And after that, forms of literature, right? You have, by forms of literature, we mean, poetry, drama, right? Novel, short story, all those forms of it. That is the next highest, essays and all those things. Okay. So this is the hierarchy. This is the, way how, things go up from letters to word, words to phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraphs, and then forms of literature. So that is why you see that, we started with, sounds, right? Then we move to words. Why we started with sounds? Why not with letters first? Any guess about this? If letter is the least division in a language, then why we have not started with letters? Why we have started with sounds? What do you say? Why there is this kind of classification in your syllabus? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my point is, when we know that the least category in a language, or the category from which language starts is letters, right? If that is the case, why we have started with the sound and then went on to words? Simply because
There are 44 sounds in English, and it makes a combination of a sentences.
Good. Thank you, Farzana. Yeah, because if you look, if you observe any child, right, around you, it could be your sibling, it could be your niece, nephew, whoever, right, or your neighbor's kid. You know that any child, when he comes into this human world, right, does he starts learning about letters, about words, or does he start practicing the sounds that is being produced by people around him or her?
By sounds.
Yes. So that is the biggest clue. That is, we start learning the language as a sound system, as a system of sounds. So language is basically a system of
Sounds.
sounds, right? Writing a language, right? Writing a language or coding this system of sounds into letters, words, right? Phrases, clauses is a later development. Language always starts with sounds and it dies. A language also dies. A language dies when people stops using it, which points to the fact that language is basically a spoken phenomena. Language comes into existence because of its usage as a spoken phenomena, and it goes extinct. It dies when people stop using it for communication. So language is basically a spoken phenomena, right? It's a system of sound. So when those sounds are codified, right, at an advanced stage, then you have letters, words, and all those things. Okay. A script is developed later. Language comes into being. It is used by people for a long time. Then that language is coded as a script. And that script contains letters and symbols. Right? The script contains letters and symbols. So written language is a later phenomenon. And a language basically exists as a system of sounds. I hope it answered the question, right? Isn't it? Did I answer your question? Answer the question about why we are talking about sounds as the first thing in this course? Okay, thank you, Sunita, for the response. Yeah, so after that, after understanding words and formation of words, in the fourth block, we are jumping to the next level in the hierarchy, that is phrases. So in phrases, yes, we'll look at different types of phrases and how phrases are formed and what role phrases play in the construction of the language. Right? It's not just understanding noun phrase, verb phrase, right? It's more than that. That is how noun phrase, verb phrase are formed and what role they play in a sentence, in a complete structure, right? That is sentence. So those things will be understanding in block 4th. And then we'll move on to next category, that is sentences. Okay. So in sentences, we'll try to look at different types of sentences. How those sentences are formed, what are the components that are essential in an English sentence, all those things we'll be dealing with in detail. Okay. Because there is clauses part missing in this course, right? Do you find any topic on clauses?
No.
No. So what we will do is, we'll also cover that. Though in a what we say, a brief manner, we'll cover that clauses part also. And in sentences, we already know that there are 4 different types of sentences, right? Simple, complex, compound, and a combination of compound and complex. So we are basically looking at structure. If we recall, we have studied in our school that English sentence has 3 important elements. What are those?
Subject, verb, object.
Subject, verb, and
Object.
object. This is the standard structure of a sentence in English. There could be deviations, there could be some exceptions, but these are the three essential elements that makes up a complete sentence. Right? We are talking about complete sentence, which means there is subject and predicate. Right? There is a subject, also a predicate. So a complete sentence in English typically has these three elements: subject, verb, and object. So in order to understand subject and object and verb, we have to go back to words, right? Types of what we say are word classes and the role, verbs, and all those plays, and then come back to how words are formed within English, and then look at phrases and types of sentences and all those things. Okay, so in order to understand the structure of English, that is subject, verb, and object structure at the highest level, that is sentence level, we have to brush up basics. Start from the words, right? But even before that, because language is basically a system of sounds and it's a spoken phenomena, so we'll look at how language or English sounds are produced. What are the sounds that are produced and how they are produced, that we will understand in the first block. And then we'll move on to word formation, phrases, clauses, and sentences. I hope this brief introduction of the paper was helpful to you, right?
Yes, sir.
I would love to know now about your queries about this paper and your expectations from me. And is there or are there any ways in which we can make our interaction virtually, obviously, more meaningful, more fruitful? Any suggestions, any feedback is welcome. So now I request you to give me suggestions and ask me any queries that you have about the topic that I discussed, that is today's the syllabus that we discussed, what we are going to learn in this particular course. Yes. Please let me know your feedback. And if you have any questions related to this paper or English, you can ask. If not, I'll start asking you. Maybe that way we can make it more meaningful, more interesting. Yes. Farzana, Sunita, right? These were the people who were interacting. So I request you to ask your doubts about this paper or English in general, structure of English in general. Now let me ask you one question. How good you are in your English? I'm talking about written English. If I ask you to rate out of 5, how many points you would give to yourself?
4.
4. Very good.
4.
4, sir.
Very good. Some people prefer to respond in chat box. Fine. Okay. So those who think that they can score 4, right, out of 5, I congratulate them that they have good confidence when it comes to written English. But my follow-up question is, would you be able to write at least 200 words as an introduction of yourself in English?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes. If you are asked to write your introduction of yourself in 200 to 300 words, would you be able to do that?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
in that particular introduction, do you think you would be able to score 4 out of 5?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I like the confidence, and that confidence is really required. Yes, life is about learning, and learning is an everyday affair, right? Me as a teacher, I also learn, and you as a student, you also learn. So learning is something, it happens every day, every moment, right? If you have the right mindset, you keep on learning. Okay. So there is nothing called perfection in this world. So far, I understand. I don't know about you. I believe that even to the people, right, who say they are perfect, there is always a scope to improve. Right? Sky is the limit, right? It is said in English, sky is the limit. So I know English to the extent that I'm able to sit in front of this camera and virtually connect with you and try to explain a few basic concepts in English language through this paper, Structure of Modern English. Right? You may be in a position where you are able to sit in this classroom and understand what your teacher is trying to communicate with you. Right? So there's always levels in communication, right? Whether it's English or any other language. So if we are at certain stage, certain level, so we have to aspire to go to the next level, right? If today you are in a position to sit in this classroom and understand this particular lecture, right, or any other lecture, then your next step would be to able to communicate the same thing that you have learned to somebody else, right? That should be your next goal. So yeah, if you are not able to give yourself 3, right, 2 or less than 4, or not 5, then you should always look at the higher end and try to make effort to go there. I hope you agree with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to English, there is a typical problem with people whose mother tongue is not English. So you and I are from this particular region, right? India, especially Telangana or twin states of Telangana and Andhra, right? Where Telugu is primarily the mother tongue of a majority of people, and second most popular language is Urdu. So either you have Telugu as mother tongue or Urdu as mother tongue. So people who come from either Telugu or Urdu background, they face a lot of challenges when it comes to spoken English. I'm not talking about written English. You would be good at written English, right? As I am, I believe I am good at written English. So I believe that you are also good at written English. When I ask this question to you, you are able to give 4 out of 5 to you. That's a very wonderful thing. That you have really worked hard when it comes to written language. But the challenge to non-native speakers like you and me is in actually spoken part of the language. If I ask the same question, how you would rate yourself out of 5 when it comes to spoken English? I'm sure majority of you may not give may not be confident enough to give 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. Isn't it?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The reason being is you understand that in language you have 4 different skills. Whenever we talk about language, whether English or any other language, you have 4 different skills.
4 skills. Listening,
LSR?
LSRW.
W. Listening, speaking, reading, and
Reading and writing.
Writing.
So these are 4 different skills. Now the trick here is those who don't read, they may not be able to write. And those who don't listen, they may not be able to speak. We are able to write good English confidently because we have been reading English right from the school. Do you agree?
Yes,
sir.
So we have been made to practice written language more and more. We have been made to read. We have been, made to read in school, at home, right? In tuition centers, right? And for examination point of view, also, we read a lot of English, right? We read a lot of English, though it was, limited to textbook, but we read a lot. And that is why we are able to score 4 out of 5 in written language. But if you look at, spoken part, we are not able to do the same. That is, we are not able to give 4 out of 5 to us in spoken because we got limited exposure. Right?
Yes.
As I told you, if you look at the natural way of a child learning a language, a child is completely exposed to the environment where that language is being used every day in a variety of situations. And that is why without a tutor or specialized focus, the child acquires the language. He starts imitating it and thereby learning the language. When it comes to English, spoken English, we have, at least in our education institutions, we have very limited exposure to spoken English. We barely have few people who would be able to speak in good English, and that limits our exposure. If you and I are placed in a school, in an educational institution, or in a society, or in a colony where people have good English spoken skills and abilities and fluency, we will also naturally acquire that fluency, that skills. Because Indian classrooms, because Indian homes don't have this English as a primary spoken language, a language of communication. Because of that, we don't get good exposure to English being spoken. That is why we lag behind in spoken skills. That takes us to the remedy, that is solution to it. What is the solution? You listen to English. How? Audio and audio video. Take example of this is the season of football World Cup. I don't know how many of you are interested in football. Maybe some are interested in cricket. So you know that whether it's football or cricket or any other entertainment programs, we have commentaries along with that. So listen to those commentaries. You listen to the news, right? If you are interested in news, listen to news. Listen to comedy shows. Listen to any radio commentary, right? So or sports commentary. So those activities, listening to different kinds of English, right? That would make you good when it comes to speaking. Right? You watch movies in English. You watch news in English. Right? You watch different entertainment programs in English. That gives you exposure to English, which we generally do not get in the society or in the classroom. Right? We know for a fact that we know for the fact that Indian classrooms typically do not have a very good spoken environment when it comes to English. So what we have to do, we have to compensate. We have to find an alternate where we can improve our listening skills, and that would help us in speaking, right? So listening is directly related or linked with spoken ability in the same way as reading is directly related to writing abilities. So we have to individually focus on all the 4 skills of the language: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. If you want to become a good writer in English, you have to read a lot of literature in English. In the same way, if you want to become a good speaker in English and you want to speak English fluently, you have to listen to people who speak English, right? In whatever situation it is used. May it be used in a newsroom, may it be used in a cricket commentary, or any other situation. So the more you listen, the better you can speak. As you know, the more you read, the better you can write. So on this very positive note, and with this a brief introduction about English, especially the structure of modern English, which is a course prescribed in your BA second year, third semester. With this brief introduction, I would want to bring this virtual class to a conclusion. Before I actually conclude, I would want to understand from you and know your feedback about today's class. Thank you so much. Any comments or any feedback from your end before we close this class for today?
Thank you, that this is a good class. And good experience.
My pleasure.
Really.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir, for this good explanation on structure of modern English. You have explained the concepts very clearly, and we hope you will explain the lessons more clearly for us to understand further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the lovely and positive feedback. I would definitely, continue to explain these concepts in as much simple way as possible, and I'll also make sure that you understand those concepts and you become you would be able to reproduce those concepts verbally or in writing. Okay. Thank you for the lovely and positive.
Thank you so much, sir, for this.
My pleasure. So shall we bring this class to the conclusion and end this class? Hopefully we'll meet in the next class.
So tomorrow we'll class also, sir?
Tomorrow I have to check the schedule. I think it is there tomorrow as well. Just give me a second, I'm checking it.
Yes, sir. We are having tomorrow class.
At the same time?
Yes, sir.
Sir, at the same time.
Just opening the schedule. Let me confirm. Tomorrow we have class, right? Okay. Just a second. So, 12. Yeah, tomorrow also we have class. And we'll start with organs of speech, and then we'll move on to vowels and consonants in the next class. So
thank you.
Yeah, hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. And please inform those students who are in touch with you and who couldn't attend today's virtual class to join us and make this class very interesting and interactive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone has notes about this?